Okay, welcome to the Gator Report, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. We're here with Coach Goodspeed. After the Mitchell game last night, first thing we want to address right away is we had a big injury last night with Mullarkey.
Dean Mullarkey broke his leg last night. An injury you don't want to see. Obviously, we don't want to see any injuries, but
season ender.
It's a season ender. He was taken to the hospital last night right after the game. You know, they tried to make him comfortable until he could get to the doctors to see what kind of surgery he's going to need. So we've been in contact with him all morning and all last night. Anthony and I went over to the hospital. You know, it's tough for me because Dean he's a leader on our team. He works tremendously hard. He's been becoming a better and better football player, loves the game, and he gets a bad run of injuries. And so I hate to see it for him. I mean, he was one of those guys that was it's always smiling and, at practice flying around, someone that everybody could rally behind. So it's a tough one. And I actually told his mom last night, I says, you never want to. I hate to see the day when my son plays football and gets an injury, because I've been through injuries.
Yeah.
But when you're the coach of the boys and you love them like I do, when they get hurt, and that one really stung.
Yeah.
Because seeing them there and just being on the field with them. So that's a tough one for me. He's a good kid. Obviously, I don't want any of the boys to get hurt. They're hurt. It all wears on you. But yeah, Dean has worked his butt off.
So what year is he?
He's a junior.
Okay.
So he'll have another year. But right now we just want to get him back healthy, get his leg fixed.
Of course, yeah.
And then, get him over and help us coach or something, because he loves the game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
Yep.
So, keep him in your prayers. I think he's scheduled for surgery today. And we'll get more information later on. So
okay.
We'll be thinking about him.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And we'll be looking forward to seeing him on the sidelines and giving that moral support to his teammates when he gets back. All right, so district game last night, couldn't get the dub. But let's talk about the season and, just the path to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And, it's more difficult now, obviously.
Yep.
But it's still possible.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things everything's still on the table for us. I mean, we have to really figure out who we are after this game. And I tell the boys all the time, I said, hey, all I can do is call a play. You have to go make it happen, whether it's the right or wrong, right? You got to get after it and do it. And I don't think we executed very well last night. And the film supports that. There was things that we haven't done for weeks that we did last night. So that's the frustrating part. And, I don't know if it's because we're off a bye week or, the mentality wasn't there. But after we played Zephyr Hills with the energy that we had and the execution that we had, and then, 2 turnovers offensively, and a couple bad plays defensively. I mean, we're in that game. We're driving down, going for the go-ahead score. But it just didn't work in our favor. But what we learned from that was that energy and that passion and,
Yep.
being on assignments and coming off the football. I mean, we look like a different team.
Yeah.
Especially when we played Williston or even River Ridge and Anclote.
Yeah.
It was kind of like what I saw in the preseason against Victory Christian.
Yeah.
An offensive line that was exploding off the football and everything. That's what I saw at Zephyr Hills. Didn't see that last night.
I agree. I think we came, I came away from the game and I said, that's not the team that played Zephyr Hills.
Yeah.
That was not the team that played Zephyr Hills.
Yeah. And my message to the boys this past week was we need to harness that back and get that passion and get the violence and get ready to have that kind of game, but just cleaner. And we just didn't execute, and I don't think the level of passion there's now. We started off hotter.
Right.
I mean, when one of your leaders go down, like we saw in a type of injury that he had, it takes some wind out of your sails. And, they responded right after it and came and scored a touchdown. But, I think mine's a little bit with Dean.
Yep.
So,
well,
it's a tough spot.
You mentioned, the before and after the injury, but I mean, really the first half. I mean, we went into halftime 10-10, right?
Yeah.
So it really was a tale of two halves. So did they make some big adjustments at halftime? I mean, what did you see there? Because I saw a game that was tight. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't expect it to be so tight. Honestly, I thought we would be able to pretty much lead in the score, not by a lot, but I thought that's how this game was going to go. So halftime, 10-10, and then something happened, second half.
That's a great way to put it. We were running the ball a little bit more in the first half. We wanted to throw a little bit more in the second half after we kind of wore them down. And I thought there was some good routes there and some decent throws made. We didn't help ourselves out by missing a couple catches and a couple bad throws, and putting some pressure on the quarterback too. We didn't pick up on pass protection. So then we went back to it, and I think we went back to the run, and we were able to move it again. But at that time it was kind of, the clock was getting late into the quarters, so you got to start throwing a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it was just execution in the second half.
Well, and then we came out immediately. We get the ball in the second half, and our first drive resulted in an interception. I thought, the pass was there. It kind of got bobbled a little bit. The guy just took it, and that kind of took the wind out of the sail there a little bit.
And it was the chance. And, he's a great kid and does a great job, and I hate that for him. We're trying to get him the football because I think he's going to be a phenomenal player for Land O'Lakes for a long time. And it was just one of those things that, if our September was just a spell of bad luck, I mean, that's just how it went, right? I mean, It was there. He makes that catch, 99% of the time. And it was just, even watching on film, he just kind of went back and he was getting ready to go because I knew he was going to turn the burners on and get down the sideline.
Right.
So it's just one of those things. But, I mean, I'm excited for him. He's a young player. He's got a lot of upside. And so, right away he was like, "Coach, I'm sorry." I'm like, those happen. I mean, you expect those things out of young players.
Yeah.
But, definitely, slowed our momentum down again. But,
we also saw two explosive out of Mitchell in the second half. Some big long passes. I think it was 35 yards. Another one's like 33 yards or something. So it was. It's not something that we have seen a lot of over the course of the year so far. Big, beating our corners, deep. We had anything different about the defense,
Well, I mean, the one thing is with Dean's injury, I mean, we put another corner in, and obviously he gets the most reps in practice, so that makes it tough. And they would do what any offense does. If you have an injury for the number one guy, you're going to test the number two guy.
Yep.
But as play went on, he got called into duty. Colony did a good job. Rallying back after a few plays, and that's what's you hope he's ready to go, and we'll make adjustments after we can see what we do. But he was the next man up, and
And you've had several situations like that.
We've had a lot of injuries. This has been the craziest September on record for football, or craziest 1 month that I've ever experienced. I mean, with our issue before River Ridge, the hurricane, and I think we've had 5 or 6 injuries that are bone issues. That's a tough deal because it's hard to prevent those.
And their season enders.
Yeah. We lost our backup quarterback. We lost a lineman. Now he's a knee, but he's a big part of what we do. So hopefully he can be back soon. Our center gets injured, a foot injury in practice.
Yep.
Now Dean. So it's been a wild one for us.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, there's a message in there somewhere for the rest of the guys, and the twos, the threes, the JV guys, or whatever, and saying, look, you don't know when you got to take advantage of every opportunity and you don't know when that's going to come, so you got to be ready, right?
Absolutely. It's one of those philosophies that I always like. Mike Tomlin has is the next man up.
Right.
So, and for the most part, we've been able to step the next man in, and they play well. So. We're getting down to a little thinner now, so it's going to be, here's the deciding factor of the season. Is the next man up going to be able to step up and do it,
right.
Or are they going to say, well, this is just how it is?
Right.
Well, and I think this team will see that, and they will fight for each other. But again, that's up to the boys.
Yeah, and you think there's any truth to, when you end up playing twos and threes in the season and then you get your ones back the following year, you're creating some serious depth because they've seen more snaps. Your twos and threes have had live bullets the previous year.
That's my whole point with the JV team. Getting as much playing time for the guys that we see is going to fill a role next year for us.
Right.
And the ones that have been stepping up and doing a good job, we try to bring them along on the varsity as much as we can so they're ready to go.
Yeah.
I tell them I don't want them to play JV, I want them to play varsity, but you need to get your experience.
Yeah.
And the other side of it too is weight room.
They're going to get it.
Experience and weight room.
Right.
That's football.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to highlight about the Mitchell game before we talk about next week? Or you want ready to put that one behind
I'm ready to put that behind us, but we have a lot of learning to do on the film.
Yeah.
I think one thing that sticks out to me is KJ. We haven't talked about him as much as we probably should, but he's made the move from guard to left tackle. Plays both ways, probably plays 99% of the snaps. He's just an animal out there, and he's a good leader and a good kid and just a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
So I hope he's one of the guys we rally behind, and he gets everybody going, and he's a captain for a reason.
Yeah. And you gotta find those guys that are going to be that guy next year, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, KJ's a senior. Unfortunately, I would love to have him for the next 10 years,
right?
If we had free agency,
right.
Right. But yes, absolutely. And the young guys need to develop too and have that leadership mentality right now. And I think we have some guys coming up on JV that are going to fill those roles. They're just not. For lack of a better term, matured yet for it, but I see in their play, and we're excited about that. So it bodes well for going down the road.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now the focus on fixing the issues we had at Mitchell, and then getting on the Nature Coast because I mean that's the next game up, right?
Yep, that's the most important game is the next one.
The next game, right?
So let's talk about that. What should we expect out of them? Are they, they got any game breakers on their team? Are they a pass team, run team?
So their head coach from last season, he left. He went up to Bartram Trail, I think it is. So they have a new staff. But I think they've really taken the philosophy of what they do and kept it. So they're the ground and pound team. I mean, it's just over and over, beat you up until you either submit or they can't win.
Right.
So that's what we're going to see. It's homecoming for us. So there'll be a little more buzz in the atmosphere for football. But I mean, Nature Coast has always played, physical and well, and we're going to probably see the same thing. So we have to be tough. It's going to be like Williston. I mean, they were just very well. I don't know if they're as polished as Williston. I haven't really seen a lot of tape on them because we're more focused on Mitchell, but they have the same offensive philosophy.
Okay.
So, we're going to be in for a tough fight again. But that's how the schedule's been set up. I mean, we're not going to play fluff cakes. We're going to play good football teams.
Yeah.
And so they got to rise up.
Yeah, and I know we always don't want to look too far ahead and everything and focus on just on the next game. But Springstead is district coming up. You got Sun Lake district coming up. Wiregrass Ranch district coming up.
Yeah.
So I think we touched on it a little bit, but everything's still left in front of you.
Yeah.
I don't know if if you're prepared to talk about at this point. We've got a lot of football left to play, but. Is tiebreakers and point differentials or any of that kind of stuff going to come into play here potentially?
You need 2 degrees, a master's, and probably a PhD to figure out the math system that they use.
Right.
So what it really comes down to is take care of your business.
Yeah.
And it'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And obviously, losing to Mitchell, which is a good football team, and they've had a great
sound
program.
football. There's no doubt.
And I'm not taking it. You never want to take it away from them because they're a good football team.
They've had consistency from a staff standpoint, and that's something that we haven't had in recent years at Land O'Lakes, but you'll see that throughout Hillsborough County, Pasco, anywhere that there's consistency in the staff, the programs are usually pretty good.
Yeah. Because you build on that same philosophy every year and you get really good at it. So. It's something obviously we're building to.
Right.
I mean, year 2 for me. We're still trying to find the right people is setting the staff, but we're right in the right direction. So, and Mitchell's done a heck of a job. I mean, when I played him when I was coaching at River Ridge, I mean, you could tell they're just a well-coached team.
Yep.
Something that we will get to.
Yep.
But as far as what's on the table, what's looking forward for us, right now is getting better to beat Nature Coast, but the message is everything is still on the table for us to do what our goals were.
Yeah.
Be a district champ and go to the playoffs. It gets harder, but still very doable.
Yep. Okay. Well, we're at home next Friday, so and then we've got the homecoming. So it should be.
Yeah, it'll be nice to be back at home, and with our all the student section and Gator Nation, and they always. Believe it or not, you feel that energy in the stands on the field, and I think the boys respond very positive to it, and so we look forward to seeing them back out and just getting after Nature Coast.
Well, I appreciate your time as always.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for spending a few moments with us here on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love doing it. I love talking football with you. I'm ready to get out of September. I know that. So, and start a new month here.
Let's turn over a new leaf. Let's go see what we got for Nature Coast.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you.
All right.